Big changes are coming to the weather across the United States this weekend. A significant shift in the pattern is on the way, bringing some seriously cold air to much of the country. In fact, this January could end up being one of the coldest we've seen in years. On top of that, there's a strong possibility of at least one winter storm, and maybe more over the next week. Today, I'll walk you through everything you need to know about the upcoming weather and how it could impact your area. Let's dive in. Right now, most of the lower 48 is enjoying a quiet and sunny start to the day. However, there are a few areas to keep an eye on. The Midwest is seeing some cloud cover rolling in. The Northeast has scattered snow showers, and Texas is dealing with a bit of moisture moving in from the Pacific. This will bring rain and a few thunderstorms to the Gulf Coast over the next couple of days. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Meanwhile, the West Coast is facing a much different situation. Southern California, especially around Los Angeles, is grappling with several active wildfires. High winds and very low humidity are making it easy for the fires to spread quickly. These dangerous conditions are expected to persist for the next 48 hours before improving slightly later this week as winds begin to die down. Elsewhere, things are mostly calm for now, but that's all about to change over the next couple of weeks. The major Arctic air mass will move down from Canada, bringing some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in a long time. Let's break it all down. Currently, the jet stream is fairly stable east of the Rockies, which is why the weather has been relatively quiet. But starting this weekend, the jet stream will dip sharply over the Pacific Northwest and northern plains. This will allow Arctic air to pour into the country, bringing a significant drop in temperatures by Saturday. The cold will intensify by Sunday and last into early next week. This Arctic blast is going to be intense, with sub-zero temperatures expected across the northern plains. Wind chills could drop as low as F40 def in some areas. Freezing temperatures may even reach as far south as Texas and Florida, with the Gulf Coast also seeing unusually cold conditions. There's also a chance for a winter storm somewhere along the Gulf Coast or East Coast, but it's too early to know the details. Over the next few days, a smaller cold front will bring light snow showers to parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. By the weekend, the Arctic air will arrive, plunging temperatures across the plains, Midwest, and South. The cold will peak early next week, with Monday and Tuesday being the chilliest days. In some areas, wind chills will make it feel even colder, creating dangerous conditions for frostbite. Out west, the story will be the opposite. Warmer, drier weather will persist, keeping wildfire risks elevated. The good news is that this Arctic outbreak won't last too long. By the middle of next week, temperatures will begin to recover, returning to near average levels for most of the country. This isn't a repeat of the deep freeze from February 2021. It's sharp, but relatively brief. We're also keeping an eye on winter storms. One system is expected to develop on Friday, bringing snow from the deep south to the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. There's even a chance for severe weather, including thunderstorms in parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Early next week, another storm system could form near the Gulf Coast or East Coast. It's still too soon to pinpoint the exact location, but with temperatures cold enough, there's potential for winter precipitation in those regions. Santa Ana winds are expected to gust between 50 and 70 mpf, with humidity levels around 10 to areas like Los Angeles, Long Beach, Riverside, and San Diego are at high risk through at least Wednesday. If you're in these areas, make sure you have an evacuation plan ready. A PD's red flag warning has been issued, and any new fire could spread rapidly. Now, for the rest of the country, a massive troughing pattern is taking shape, bringing some of the coldest air we've seen in years, while parts of the central U.S. and Pacific Northwest might see a brief warm-up later this week. Arctic air will push in around January 19th, plunging temperatures well below average across most of the country. This cold snap is expected to last for days, with the southeast feeling it the most. Don't panic, though. This isn't a disaster. Just be prepared for the chill. Some areas like Texas might experience minor power issues, but nothing like the big outages we've seen in the past. And of course, with this cold comes snow. There's a solid chance of heavy snow across the central and eastern U.S. between January 18th and 24th. You'll probably see dramatic snowstorm forecasts popping up online, but take those with a grain of salt until we're closer to the actual events. As we move on to precipitation, we see that there's a chance for storms to move up along the East Coast with the potential for above average precipitation during this period. The Climate Prediction Center's outlook is hinting that cold air is in place and there's a chance for a coastal storm. This is exactly what you'd expect with this type of pattern, And while the forecast isn't showing a 50, 60, or 70 chance, it's still a decent shot with a 33 to 40 chance of above average precipitation. This is about what we expect when we're looking at forecasts 7 to 10 days out. The West is expected to remain dry for the time being, and this will likely be the theme for the foreseeable future. Moving into the 8 to 14 day outlook, temperatures are projected to be colder for the east, which might mean a lesser chance of snowfall if the cold pushes too far eastward. If the cold is indeed overdone or further east than expected, we could see snowstorm chances creep back in. However, this will be a much harder pattern for major snowstorms to take shape, especially along the coast. For the 21st through the 27th, we're likely looking at clipper systems that could bring light to moderate snowfall to areas in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast, but major snowstorms from coastal lows might be a stretch. Looking at the past 14 days, we've seen really cold temperatures, especially in the central states, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic. Areas further north, like the Great Lakes and Northeast, have seen cold but closer to neutral temperatures. The Southeast has also been experiencing below average temperatures, though not as cold as areas farther north. The West has been much warmer than average, which is contributing to what we call a positive PNA Pacific North American pattern. This has helped funnel cold Arctic air into the eastern central U.S., which has contributed to the colder conditions over the past 2 weeks. The European model is showing that a southeast snowstorm is still a possibility, particularly around the 20th through the 22nd. While the models have had some disagreements in recent days, there are still some signals for the snowstorm to occur. The GFS and European models both indicate a chance for snow and cold air, although the details differ. Some of the models are showing the possibility of snow showers in places like Virginia, with some of that activity moving into the Great Lakes region and Ohio Valley as we get into the middle of the week. Thursday, the 16th, could see snow showers across the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, but there's no major storm system on the horizon just yet. By Friday, the 17th, we'll see a brief warm-up as cold air from the west pushes into the east, along with some snow in the northern Rockies and northern plains. One of the features driving this cold air pattern is a low-pressure system located between the Hudson Bay and the Great Lakes. This system has been responsible for many of the cold pushes we've seen this year, and it will continue to influence temperatures. A cold front will form as this low moves eastward, bringing with it heavy snow for the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Thunderstorms are also expected across the Southeast, and showers will be prevalent in the Gulf states. The system will gradually move eastward, bringing cold air into the region, and it's possible that a coastal low will form off the Mid-Atlantic, which could bring snowfall to the region before the cold air sets in fully. Looking ahead to Sunday the 19th, we're going to start seeing the storm system move up the coast, bringing snowfall and cold air with it. This could be our first snowstorm threat for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast as the cold air moves in and interacts with the storm. By Monday the 20th and Tuesday the 21st, the storm will be more active with the potential for snowfall, ice, and rain across the Southeast. As this storm moves up the coast, it will bring heavy snowfall to places like North Carolina, Virginia, and even parts of the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England. It's going to be a tricky setup, and there are still a lot of variables to track. However, the storm signal is there, and it's one we'll be keeping an eye on. In the days leading up to this storm, we'll be monitoring the models closely as they flip-flop. It's important to understand that the pattern is still evolving, and we can't be certain of what will happen 7 to 10 days out. But the signals are lining up, and there's a strong chance that we'll see significant cold air in the coming days. We'll keep tracking the developments and continue to update you on the latest model runs. As we move into next week, the storm signal will become clearer, and we'll have a better idea of what the storm will look like and where it will. It's worth noting that just because we're seeing some storm signals now doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen. We've seen similar setups before, only for the storm to disappear from the models after a few days. But the key takeaway is that the potential is there. The patterns are coming together, and in a few days, we'll have a better idea of what to expect. Whether we see a major snowstorm or just a few flurries, we'll continue to monitor the situation closely. Stay tuned for more updates as we're likely to see more fluctuations in the forecast, but we're getting closer to understanding what the outcome will be.